I think shadow work is an accumulation of things and key points in one's life that's meant to shake a person's spirit to the point that they want to find and identify who they really are. I can be putting my own definition on what this thing called shadow work is. However, when one is on a journey to intentionally find themselves and purposes, all things from their past should be brought to the surface. To know you is to truly uncover all that you are, the good, bad, ugly, and indifferent. Most people live by what they've been taught. They're a combination of many different outside influences, like their parents, other family members, friends, and other folks they may look up to or are somehow influenced by. Sooner or later, an individual may begin to think outside of what they've been influenced by. They may come to a conclusion that maybe there is something more to life than what's in their present experience. I spent the better part of the last month in bed, um, feeling horrible about the things that are presently in my life. And today, as I've been thinking about my situation and the certain things that I've went through, I could just come to the conclusion that there is a way to overcome depression. There's a way to figure out what it really means to have the life that you want. Sometimes we get in denial about who we are. We get over assertive in our own self-condemnation. And when that concoction of emotions reach their peak, you never know what a person can do. So I wrote some things down about myself that I wondered why a person like me can have the talents that I have and not have succeeded in life the way that I felt that I should. I was just honest with myself. I wrote these things down. I wrote all my fears down. I wrote my disappointments down. I wrote the fact that it was easier for me to give the illusion to other people that I at least tried something than to actually be a success, because it was easier to be a valiant failure than to be a successful individual. A lot of people, except if they have tragic circumstances happening in their life that puts them into a depression, a loss of a loved one, a loss of a job, and they're having an issue trying to move past that experience. A lot of times we are in these horrible modes of depression because we've made choices in our lives that when it was time to rise to a certain occasion, when it was time to be successful about something, um, we perceived something as hard and gave the illusion of effort, and let that be the result instead of putting that last piece of effort in that could have got us to that particular promised land that we wanted. Everybody has things that they see that they want. You know, a great boxer, before he began to be a champion, first saw himself. When they went to the gym, they saw the work that had to be done, and they had their moment of truth. They either pushed forward through the pain and adversity of the training and the sparring and the running, or they went to the gym, saw how hard it was, and didn't want to pay that price. So it felt better for them to tell folks, yeah, I tried it, I just couldn't accomplish it. They felt that they got something out of the defeat, what we call a moral victory. That's not acceptable in a person's being if it's something that they truly wanted, because when they walk away from that, and then maybe jobs that they had that they didn't follow through with, maybe opportunities that they had that they didn't follow through with, you know, the fear of success is just as prominent or even more prominent as the fear of failure. You'd rather get something small, you'd rather accomplish something small than to gain something big and lose it. That's what it is. I felt comfortable making a little bit of money because I was scared if I went out and figured out a way to make a lot of money that I could somehow lose it. That's a paralyzing thing. And unfortunately, that's what I've had to deal with for the last month, where everything in my life began to overtake me and I couldn't do nothing. But you know, this morning I felt like, why? Why did I put myself through that? Then I also thought, after I wrote down all these things about myself that I looked at as failures, I said to myself, what if I thought about, instead of the love that I didn't receive, that I figured that I should have received from someone else, I felt like, now, why not give that to myself now? Polarity. You have two poles, good and bad, up, down, off, on. The way to deal with depression is you have to understand that because of universal law, if you've been down, as long as you're breathing, there's a chance you could be up. This is universal law, actually. If you are a professional broke person, meaning your whole life you've never had nothing, polarity says if you've been down, you could be up. That's polarity. That's a universal law. Yin and yang. If you went through a space in your life where you didn't feel loved, there comes a time for you to be loved. If you're an individual who are depressed because you gave to a certain thing, You gave to a company. You gave to a relationship. And you didn't feel that love was reciprocated. You didn't get it back in return. And then when the relationship ended or the job ended, you look at yourself as all that you gave but didn't give anything in return. And that drives your depression. You have to be simple about this and say, that was my time to suffer. Now it's my time to reap the benefits. Now it's my time to receive. This is what it should be about. I'm not saying that this is the medicine for depression. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if you've been broke, you can be rich. If you had a failed relationship, you can have a successful one. If you had a career where you only made a certain amount of money an hour, let's say you made the most you've ever made in your life was $15 an hour. Well, why not make $15,000 a month? I suggest you write and be honest with yourself. Write what you don't like about you. Be honest. And then find out where that comes from, where those thoughts comes from, where that self-hate comes from. And identify that. And understand that for every bad thing that you wrote, for every bad thought that you had about yourself, for every limiting belief that you've dealt with, there's an equal side to it on the other side of the polarity pole. If it was negative, there's a positive aspect to that. And then write the positive things. Write the fact that you are now loved. Write the fact that you are now successful. If you were afraid of failure, but you've lived the life of a failure, you no longer have anything to be afraid of. If you didn't make your rent, you know what that feels like. If you got evicted, you know what that feels like. If your car broke down, you know what that feels like. Now, you can experience what it is to have things go in your favor. This is universal law. And as long as you keep getting up every morning, as long as you keep getting up, as long as you keep trying, sooner or later the pendulum will swing in your direction. Sooner or later, it has to. So, these are just some words that I wanted to give to you from my book. Shadow work, man, is hard. And I just gave a glossed over part from influences that you can receive from other people that might have an impact on your life. If you have an older brother and when you were growing up, everyone looked at him as the good one and looked at you as the one that was average or not good enough, that affects you today and how you deal with people. If you were looked at as somebody that wasn't smart when you were young, that has something to do with what you are going through today and how you react to people, the influences. The shadow work helps you go back to find those situations so you can correct what you're going through now. Sit with yourself, be in silence. And that's painful to go through, but it must be done so you can find the source of what you feel is of hurt to you, and you can replace that hurt with love. You can replace being broke with being rich. You can replace being someone that you didn't feel was good enough to be creative, or you felt like things that you created wouldn't be good enough. Now you can stand on the fact that, why not you? If they could do it, you could do it. If there was success at something that you can do, something that you're gifted in, if you've seen someone successful in what you are already doing, but you've been broke all your life, that you saw as a person being successful in your trait, in your gift, that is a indication that you can do it too. Why not you? This is going to be hard to get through. This message that I'm giving you right now, this is hard to get through when you are in that depression state, because you're not going to want to hear it right now. You're not going to want to write all the bad things about yourself that you feel that you have, because they're playing on repeat in your mind at a high volume right now. But if you can come to a point where, even if it's just for 5 seconds, when you think about something that you don't like about your life experience, if you can just give 5 seconds to something that means something and feels good to you, 5 seconds can be a difference. 5 seconds can be the difference between whether you give completely up on life, or that 5 seconds is a turning point for you to go into the other direction. That's what my road to Damascus is about. You're going down one path, and something happens to you and grips you, and then you go the other direction. The road to Damascus, the intention of that road is negative thoughts, limiting beliefs. But on that same road, there's also love, success, great relationships, great things that you can create. There's money that you can make. There is companies that you can create, books that you could write, paintings that you can paint, careers that you can be successful in. So just keep that in mind. I know it's hard. It's hard to get out of bed. It's hard to get around people. It's hard to be in a situation where you feel like at some point something is going to go wrong. But what if it don't? What if it don't go wrong? What if it don't go wrong?